What if every child learned emotional regulation before they learned algebra? I know that might seem like a strange question because don't get me wrong, I think math is important. Reading is important. Science is important. Education is extremely important. But let me ask you something. How many adults do you know who can solve complex equations but don't know how to calm themselves down when they're stressed? How many people know how to calculate percentages, but they don't know what to do when they're anxious? How many people graduate from school with incredible knowledge, but have never been taught how to process disappointment, frustration, anger, or fear? I think that's one of the biggest gaps in education today. For me, yoga changed my life after I was diagnosed with lupus in 2009. It didn't just make me stronger physically, it taught me how to be present. It taught me how to breathe through discomfort. It taught me that I didn't have to react to every emotion I experienced. And I remember thinking, what if I had learned this as a child? What if I had learned these skills? How would life have been different? How different would my life have been? How different would your life have been? Thinking about a typical day in a child's life. They're learning new subjects, taking tests, navigating friendships, learning their bodies, dealing with peer pressure, comparing themselves on social media, trying to figure out who they are. That's a lot for a developing nervous system. Yet, we spend years teaching children what to think and very little time teaching them how to regulate the person who's doing the thinking. Imagine if every school day started with 5 minutes of breathing instead of 5 minutes of rushing. Imagine if children learned how to recognize stress before it overwhelmed them. Imagine if they understood that it's okay to feel angry, disappointed, or nervous, but they don't have to let those emotions make their decisions for them. These aren't just wellness skills, these are life skills. These are leadership skills, because emotional regulation isn't about suppressing emotions. It's about creating enough space to choose your response instead of reacting automatically. And honestly, that's something many adults are still trying to learn. Think about how many arguments begin because someone couldn't regulate their emotions. Think about how many friendships end because people react instead of communicate. Think about how many opportunities are lost because stress takes over. Now imagine raising an entire generation that knew how to pause before reacting. Children who understood the power of their breath. Children who knew how to calm themselves after a difficult conversation. Children who could disagree with someone without becoming disrespectful. That's not just good for the classroom. That's good for families. That's good for workplaces. That's good for communities. That's good for the future, because today's children become tomorrow's teachers, tomorrow's business owners, tomorrow's parents, tomorrow's coaches, tomorrow's world leaders. And every leader makes decisions from the state of their nervous system. So maybe one of the greatest investments we could make isn't in just academic achievement. Maybe it's in helping children build emotional resilience from the very beginning. So I'm not saying replace algebra with yoga. I'm saying we stop treating emotional well-being as an afterthought. What if learning how to regulate your emotions became just as important as learning how to read? What if schools measured not only academic success, but also kindness, resilience, empathy, and self-awareness? I think we'd build healthier people, and healthier people build healthier communities. And healthier communities make a healthier world. That's why I believe yoga is so much more than stretching. It's education, it's prevention, it's leadership development. It's giving people the tools they'll use for the rest of their lives. And that's exactly why my mission has become so much more than teaching yoga. The poses themselves are a minuscule component of the importance of the practice of mindfulness. My mission is to spread world peace through inner peace because I believe peaceful adults are often the results of children who were taught how to find peace within themselves. If you're a yoga teacher, yes, thank you for spreading your message and sharing your light. If you're an aspiring yoga teacher, yes, keep studying. If you're an educator, a parent, or someone who desires to make a meaningful impact in the next generation, yes, keep doing it. I invite you to stay connected. You can join us along this mission by subscribing to this channel, watching, commenting, all the things. And if you're a teacher and you'd like to learn more how yoga can become a vehicle for leadership, opportunity, and lasting change, the details are in the caption. The details are in the caption. Bring your notebook, bring your questions, bring your vision for a better future, because changing the world doesn't always start in the boardroom. Sometimes it starts in the classroom. I'll see you in class. Peace.